It didn't begin in a stadium. It didn't begin with agents, record deals, or viral headlines. It began with three sisters, a piano, and a spark. Before the world heard the thunder of their guitars, before Metallica gave them a nod, they were just Daniela, Paulina, and Alejandra. This is the story of The Warning, and how a childhood in Mexico gave birth to one of the fiercest new forces in rock. The Villarreal sisters were born and raised in Monterey, a city rich with culture but far from the heart of the rock world. Their parents weren't musicians by trade, but they were music lovers, and they knew the value of giving their daughters a creative outlet.
I think my parents just always brought us up to be hardworking and passionate about whatever we were going to choose to do. In this case, they saw that we had a passion for music and they let us pursue it. But not only did they let us pursue it, but they were hard on us. They made sure that we kept practicing, that we did our homework, that we just explored everything that had to do with it.
At first, it was classical music, piano lessons, structured practice, discipline. Daniela, the oldest, took the lead, showing signs of natural musicality from the start. Paulina, just 2 years younger, followed close behind. And Alejandra, the youngest, watched and learned, hungry to be a part of it. They weren't trained to perform, they were trained to feel, and in that feeling, something began to shift. It happened like it does for many great musicians, by accident. A song came on, a riff, heavy, dark, electric. It was Metallica's Enter Sandman. The spark hit the powder keg. Daniela picked up the guitar. Paulina moved to the drums, banging out beats with a precision and fury that defied her age. Alejandra, still just a child, reached for the bass, and it fit. They weren't just covering songs, they were absorbing them, learning structure, power, rhythm, learning how to speak rock before they even hit their teens. In 2014, their father filmed them covering Enter Sandman, a simple video, raw and authentic. 3 kids, 1 song, no frills. They uploaded it to YouTube, and then something incredible happened. Millions of views, reposts, reactions. Metallica noticed. Ellen DeGeneres called. It was a whirlwind the family never saw coming. But instead of chasing fame, the sisters did something unusual for viral stars. They went back to work. They weren't content to just be a viral moment. They wanted to become artists. In 2015, they were accepted into the prestigious Berklee College of Music summer program, a rare feat for musicians so young. There, they studied theory, composition, and songwriting. And with fan support and relentless determination, they released their first EP, Escape the Mind. It was raw, intense, and full of promise. In 2017, they dropped their first full album, 21 Century Blood. It wasn't just a debut, it was a declaration. Themes of rebellion, independence, inner strength poured into every lyric. It was the sound of a generation raised on rock, but shaped by a modern world. They weren't a novelty anymore. They were The Warning, a band with something to say, and the world was beginning to listen. From a childhood surrounded by pianos and practice, to viral fame, to international recognition, the rise of The Warning is not just the story of 3 sisters. It's the story of a new era in rock. With the release of their debut album, 21 Century Blood, in 2017, The Warning had made one thing clear. They were a real band. Loud, lyrical, and unafraid. But they were just getting started. While most teenagers were figuring out high school, The Warning was building a legacy. Touring independently, playing anywhere they could, from intimate clubs to international stages. Their live performances weren't just impressive, they were electric. Tight, emotional, and explosive. Audiences saw what the internet had only hinted at. These girls could command a stage. In 2018, they released their second full-length album, Queen of the Murder Scene. It wasn't just a follow-up, it was a bold, conceptual leap. A theatrical journey into obsession, tragedy, and power. Darker, heavier, more complex. It told the story of a woman's descent into madness after a love affair turns fatal, but beneath the fiction lay real, human emotion. and the kind of ambition few rock bands dare to show. Critics and fans alike were stunned. They weren't just playing rock anymore. They were reshaping it. As word spread, so did their influence. They opened for some of the biggest names in music: Foo Fighters, The Killers, Guns N' Roses. Their fan base, now global, was growing fast, united under a shared sense of passion, identity, and grit. And then, in 2022, came the moment that changed everything. Their signing to Lava Records under the guidance of legendary label exec Jason Flom. With a major label behind them, The Warning stepped into a new era. That same year, they released Error, their third studio album and their most daring yet. Where Queen of the Murder Scene was theatrical and introspective, Error was a social scream. It tackled technology, human disconnection, youth identity, mental health, and rebellion in a world spinning off its axis. Songs like Choke, Disciple, and Money showed a band that was not only more mature, but unafraid to confront the present moment head-on. Musically, they blended hard rock, alt metal, and progressive elements, proving they weren't confined to any label but their own. Error wasn't just a success, it was a statement. Their performance on national television in the US, high-profile interviews, and a place on Billboard's charts proved what many had known since the beginning. The Warning wasn't an anomaly, they were the future. They embarked on international tours, selling out shows in North America, Europe, and South America. Fans lined up for hours just to feel that connection, that raw, thunderous energy that only The Warning could deliver. And through it all, the sisters stayed grounded. No scandals, no personas, just music, just truth, just power. Now, years after that first video in their living room, The Warning stands as one of the most important rising bands in rock music today. The inspiration runs so deep that there's hundreds of people in other bands covering some of their favorite Warning tracks. This cover of When I'm Alone is my personal favorite. You should check it out. Because let's remember, all bands have to start off somewhere, just like our favorite rock band, The Warning.
Everyone will think I'm alright, but nobody knows.
As the years passed, The Warning didn't slow down. They accelerated. From viral stars to international rock icons, the sisters from Monterey have become a defining voice in a generation desperate for authenticity. And the numbers speak for themselves. Millions of streams, sold-out tours across continents, critical praise from Rolling Stone, Kerrang, Loudwire, and respect from legends like Metallica and Muse. Not to mention collaborations with artists such as Alessia Cara, David Draymond of Disturbed, and 3 Days Grace. A signal that the industry doesn't just see The Warning, it believes in them. Their 2022 album Error was a breakthrough, but by 2024 they were already teasing the next evolution. Tracks like More, 6 Feet Deep, and Sick hinted at heavier sounds, more ambitious themes, and a deeper dive into the human condition. Mental health, digital overload, rebellion, loss, and love. Each song sharper, each riff louder, each lyric closer to the bone. Fans around the world weren't just listening, they were relating. And in an era where the lines between artist and audience are blurred, The Warning became something rare, a band that feels like family. They've graced the stages of major festivals, Rockville, Lollapalooza, Hellfest. Shared lineups with Slipknot, Avenged Sevenfold, and Deftones. Stood toe-to-toe with the greats and held their own. And all of it, every tour, every studio session, every roaring crowd, they've done side by side, as sisters, as blood, as one. But what makes The Warning truly special isn't just their music, it's their story. It's the idea that 3 young girls in Mexico, without a blueprint, without a big machine behind them, could carve their names into the face of modern rock. That they could rise without compromise. That they could inspire not just the next generation of female musicians, but every kid who's ever sat in their bedroom dreaming of a stage. Now, in 2025, The Warning stands on the edge of yet another chapter. Rumors swirl of a 4th studio album. The tours get bigger, the crowds get louder. And yet, their mission remains the same: to make music that matters, music that moves, music that warns. Because this isn't the end of their story. This is the part where legends are born. This is The Warning.